Welcome back to Man Cave United. How are we all? I'm sure we're good after the 2-0 result we had last night. And we've got a new face on the pod. Mr. Dean Garden, welcome back from the UK. How are you, buddy?
Good, mate. Still recovering a little bit, as you can tell by my voice. So apologies for the voice.
It's good to have you back in town, mate, because we had some shit results while you were over there. So, as you can see. But first things first, I want to talk about our mate Emad. He's I'm not going to say pulled the plug from the pod because the guy is under the pump at home. But he's come to me and he said, "Look, I'm going to have to take a step back on the pod at the moment. I'm under the pump with the 4 kids, and which is always family first. We've been trying to get together over the past month or so since our last pod to get one going. But unfortunately, with his schedule, my schedule, it's just not working. But he started this pod with me, and I'm super proud of this pod, and I'm super proud of having Emad on board. And if it wasn't for him pushing me to have one our own way, this probably wouldn't have eventuated. So I want to thank him. He's like a brother to me. And Emad, you're always welcome on this pod, and couldn't feel a better replacement than having Mr. Dean Garden with me. We've been mates for a while now, and Mr. Worldwide Red, I like to call Dean, because he brought me on board with the Worldwide Reds. And mate, you've just come back from the UK. It was a hell of a trip. You went to the Jimmy Murphy statue reveal, and mate, it looked like you had a sensational time. I was very jealous.
I know you were. No, it was amazing, wasn't it? Like, even just the whole day. So there was Reds from Austria, Malta there with us, and all around from the UK. So we went to a place called the Railway, I think it's pub or tavern or social club sort of thing. And they closed it for us, and we had a great time there. And I don't know if people are aware, but there's actually a replica Manchester Platts statue there that Steve did. So if you're in town, it's just down the road from Bishop's Blaze, near the Tesco's there. And it's amazing, like the job that they do there. And there's all Busby Bay's murals and stuff like that. So if you're ever in town, go and support it, and it's a great place.
Actually, so when you sent me that photo, I actually thought that was in someone's backyard. So it's actually at the back of a tavern.
It's actually at the front of a tavern,
front of the tavern
on the side, yeah.
So I had seen that
where everyone parks and stuff. So, but it's all got a mural and stuff as well, and inside it's got all the memorabilia, which most pubs that we go to over there do. But and it was probably about a good 30 of us just there, drinking, singing along, and just meeting each other. Some of us for the first time. The Malta lads were class, so it was really good.
Yeah, they're good boys, the Malta boys, don't they? And they travel in packs as well. Like, they just don't come 1 or 2. It's usually 10 or 12 of them at a time. So, they're absolute champion blokes, the boys from Malta. And you went to the statue, you went to the revealing, you were sitting in the VIP area. And, mate, what a class, I don't know, what would you say? Class revealing. Like, it was just excellent to see you there. And the statue reveal, that's well-deserved to Jimmy Murphy and his family. That's for sure.
That's it, and I know, I get criticised for a lot of things, but they actually did this really well. It's obviously been dragging on for a few years now, and obviously COVID didn't help, but it's a great thing for the family, like obviously I'm close with them, and just hear their personal stories about like what it means to them and stuff like that. And, I know someone went to the match yesterday and stayed in front of the statue. They didn't even go inside. So, it means a lot to the family. It means a lot to the fans, and especially the older generation that, knows the story about Jimmy Murphy and what exactly happened, and, what he did for the club. And, a lot of people have been pushing for this for a while. So, it wasn't just one person. It was a whole group of supporters that got behind this from day one and just kept pushing it. And as I said, like, credit to the club. Obviously not everyone can have a statue because, it would end up looking ridiculous, but this one was well deserved, and I know it means a lot to a lot of people. So well done to United. Even Richard Arnold spoke, and he spoke well and stuff like that. I know he's not everyone's greatest fan, but he was good, and they showed a lot of respect to the family. And Alex Stephanie was there, Brian Kidd was there, and that it was a really class occasion. So no, I was honoured to be there and invited by the family, and yeah, it was an amazing day. So I'll never
still
forget that.
remember when the petition started going around for it, and like a few years ago, and I'm so glad they actually took note of it and made this happen, because it's definitely the man that kept Manchester the red flag flying. And congratulations to you and the Murphys, and absolutely sensational job. Congratulations to you all. All right, well, let's move on to the game last night. Well, I think everyone was a little worried about last night's game. We haven't been playing well over the past few weeks, and we needed players to step up and make an impact at home. Even though United has been playing well at home, they're starting to make a little bit of a fortress of the stadium. So, yeah, it was for me. It was a solid game. I said just come off, and I said to Dean, I actually fell asleep in the game last night because I was absolutely knackered after a big week of work. And I've got up this morning. I haven't, even though it's Mother's Day, I've got a sick one at home, and so I've stayed at home. And the bride's gone out with Alyssa, so it's given me a chance to do this today. But the game last night, I thought United, a bit scrappy to start. The Varane was a little scrappy to start the game, and as usual, we'll turn it over the ball early. And but in the end, it was quite a solid performance. Give us your rundown, mate, because I know you were up for the game and we were chatting, and then I fell asleep. So give us your rundown.
Oh, well, I think when Rashford got ruled out, everyone sort of, how are we going to score a goal? So, I saw a bit of caginess there. Obviously the players were a bit nervous from the last two performances and stuff like that with our, in Brighton, our 100th minute loss and stuff like that, and then against West Ham. So I thought United controlled the game in stages, and we still give the ball away a lot, which is concerning. Sometimes their midfield would just sort of glide through ours, and Casemiro gets another yellow card and stuff like that. But overall, we can't complain. There's 3 matches left now, and then obviously our main goal is the top 4 now and to win the FA Cup final. So as long as we're building towards that, it was good to see Varane knock in. I think it was about 80 minutes last night. Even De Gea looks a lot more solid just with Varane in front of him. So, all round good performance and another clean sheet.
Did you, while you were over there, did you get to see Varane play, or was he injured while you were over there? Yeah, so like I've said it when I was over there with Shane, and one thing Varane does well is he keeps his midfield in order, and I was really happy to hear that Varane was, like, I did see the lineup and I saw Varane and Casemiro playing together again, and I actually thought when I heard Varane was playing in the press, I actually thought maybe Fred might get the nod, because Casemiro and Varane really keep Fred in order. So it was good to see those two play together. And again, like Casemiro got that yellow card. I think that really affects his game when he does get a card, or he's really worried about getting sent off and things like that. But, he's a season under his belt now, Casemiro. I think he'll be even better next year. So, but I thought, Martial, what's his name? Sorry, not Martial, Anthony. Anthony was still a little erratic with shooting instead of passing off. And, but in saying that, I thought his combinations with Wan-Bissaka was working really well. Wan-Bissaka's, I think he's learning so much out of Eric Ten Hag, to be honest with you. He's like a different type of player, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And even on the other side with like Luke Shaw, obviously Luke Shaw's been like brilliant at centre half, but when he goes back out to that left fullback role, he pushes on, and sometimes he's our number one attacker, out left there. And even Sancho looked a bit better with Shaw behind him and stuff like that. So as I said, as long as we're building towards that FA Cup, final, it's it's a one-off game, so anything can happen. And the more players we get, fit and game time, and with Garnacho coming on, last 10 minutes, and boosting the crowd. Like, the crowd was amazing last night. Like, the atmosphere was just unreal, and Viva Garnacho was going off. So it's positive for everyone. Like, he signed a new long-term deal with the club, which is a positive. Him and Ten Hag look like they've got a really good relationship. I don't know if you saw after the match.
I did. Yeah.
And, it's just, and even Martial scoring a tap in looks happy. You know what I mean? So as long as their confidence is building, like.
that part of the game where you saw where Anthony cut the ball into. I'm glad it was on his right foot, to be honest with you, because I think if he received it on his left, he's shooting. So it was a nice pass into Martial, and it was a nice finish too. It was a nice casual finish, and which was good. But on that point with Sancho and Shaw, like I know we criticised Sancho for not getting in behind and stuff like that, but I don't think it's in Sancho's game to get in behind the player. But I think the combination between Shaw and Sancho is working really well. And then Bruno. Look, I thought Bruno was very good last night. I thought he had an excellent game. Probably, when we were at 1-0, he was probably, yes, giving the ball away a bit, which annoys the crap out of me. But as a captain, which I think he needs to fix that up in his game. I think the turnovers, I think he's improved that turnover of ball, but it's still there at the wrong time of the game. But again, he was all over the place. Like he had an involvement in that goal with Martial as well. I think he laid on the pass to Anthony, and he also set Garnacho up, which was, mate, an absolute class finish, which we will get into Garnacho a little bit later. But, going through that back line, it just seemed solid, didn't it? Like with Lindelof there. Lindelof's probably, for me, being the player of the month.
Yeah.
I actually thought he should have got it last month, where the fans always vote. And I'm not too sure. I think it was Bruno that did get it. But for me, Lindelof's been the player of the last couple of months for me.
Well, especially when he was out in the cold for, a good few months there, to step right back in and have a foreign partner next to him in Luke Shaw, and those two worked really well together, I thought, like. But I think we just look better all around with Luke Shaw out wide on the left at this point of time. We've got a young kid, Alvaro Fernandez, that just got Young Player of the Year at Preston North End and had a really good season there. So, obviously there's going to be a lot of changes in the summer, and hopefully that includes the ownership. Who knows what's happening with that, to be honest. You hear they favour one guy, then the next hour they favour another guy, and it's just typical United mess, and the media love it and it sells the papers. So, but back to the game, it's just happy to see him at Old Trafford winning again, and making it that fortress. Under Ollie it was a bit up and down, but our away form was excellent. As where this season's sort of the opposite. We're really good at home and our away forms drop. So we've got to remember it's Ten Hag's first season in the Premier League as well, so he's learning as well. It's just obviously these days we want managers to be winning straight away, and that doesn't always happen. So give him time and get a few more of his players in and stuff like that. Some of our loanees, like Ahmad's been really well, playing really well. He scored another brilliant goal this morning. So
yeah, well, that'll be good to see him come back in.
Yeah, but like with Sancho and Anthony, they always seem to want to cut in and stuff like that. Is where Palestri and Ahmad offer something different. So I would love to see that mixed up a little bit. Like with
I would love to
Palestri
see
and Ahmad,
Palestri come in for sure.
Yeah. Just as top of something different, and even if it's, we've got the top four sewn up, like play them and, see what they can do the last couple of games.
I definitely reckon next game you could bring him in. We play Bournemouth. I'm pretty sure it's Bournemouth next game.
Yeah.
I would love to see Palestri start for us. Just I don't know, like you said, we've got FA Cup coming up. I mean, I know it's not for a few weeks away. What is it? 4th of June, isn't it? 4th of June.
Yeah.
So it's not too far away. Anthony might need a rest and stuff like that. Bring him in.
I just don't see him changing the lineup, really, to be honest. Palestri didn't start when we had all these fixtures and midweek fixtures. I don't see him changing a lot. We've got another week break now and stuff like that. So I just mean, once that top four's sewn up, throw him in,
Yeah.
It'd be good if somehow Ahmad could play in the FA Cup.
Yeah. Well, I was reading earlier too. Eric Ten Hag's been he's the most successful manager in his debut season with 20 wins. So that's
right.
That, isn't it? Like, look, we all know Fergie's story when he first started and stuff like that. So yeah, 20 wins he's had. I think total in the Premier League, total 36. I think it was.
Yeah, nice. Yeah,
which is a big one. So yeah,
especially coming from a smaller league, like You know, obviously he didn't come from Spain or Germany. You know, that came from the Dutch league, and you know he's also had his issues. You know, he had the Ronaldo issue at the start, and he had the ownership issue, and you know didn't spend money in January. So I reckon he's done an unbelievable job with what he's had. To be honest, like he handles the media really well. He's handled the players well. Like he's dropped Rashford for turning up late. You know, he's it looks like he's brought Garnacho into line a little bit. You know,
Yeah, he
I
had
think he's
the
done an
issue with
amazing job.
Garnacho on the tour, didn't he? So
Yeah,
so look, it's all. He's definitely the manager we need to go forward. That's for sure. So
definitely.
the other one I saw, I saw two other stats prior to this pod. De Gea is guaranteed to win the Golden Glove with 16 clean sheets, which is good. I know you're a big fan of him, and I'm a fan of him, and I know I wanted him sacked last week on our chat. Well, not sacked, but taken back, give him a rest, or bring our second keeper in or something like that. Yeah, look, and Bruno, what did I read? Bruno has created more chances than any other player in the EPL this season. So with 108, which I thought's a good one as well. So
Yeah.
you
can't fault Bruno's efforts and all that sort of stuff. Is creativity and stuff like that. It's just obviously he gets frustrated sometimes, and it's sort of I think that takes over his game more than actually playing. He gets frustrated with things and he starts going off with the fairies a little bit with that. So
I can understand that. I was a very frustrated player at times when things never went my way.
No way. I don't believe that.
So, look. No, go on. Look, Emad, I'll always mention things with Emad on this pod. And look, I know Emad's not a fan of Bruno, but I can see where Emad's coming from at times. But last night, aside from the ball turnover at important times, I thought he was very good. I really did. I thought Bruno was very good, and I do get frustrated with him a lot. But and I know everyone. I think he got man of the match as well. For me, after watching everything, I think for me, I'm enjoying Wan-Bissaka. I tell you, I'm so impressed with the way he's getting forward and learning under Eric Ten Hag as well. So, the other thing, like, it just goes to show, like, with those 108 assists or whatever it is. Oh no, not 108 assists. Balls going forward from Bruno or whatever that stat is. It just shows we definitely need a striker in a hurry, doesn't it? It'd be good to get someone in the off season. That's for sure.
Honestly, we probably need two strikers in.
Yeah, definitely. I'm with you.
Obviously, it depends on the ownership and stuff like that, and hopefully that gets sorted in the next couple of weeks. With all that, so. But as I say, who knows? It was meant to be sorted. How many deadlines have we had now? 3 or 4? Like, it's just typical Glaziers, isn't it? Like, just trying to get the last buck out. So.
Yeah, well, that's right. Like, we desperately need it. And look, last night, I think we had 27 or between 27 and 29 chances on goal. And I think 9 were on target. So like, we get that striker in and we get some crosses in and things like that. And, things may happen. Like even with Anthony, like I don't want to criticize Anthony because his energy is so good. And I've seen it before where we've had a player where he's got so much energy and he takes so many shots on goals and he's missing a lot. And maybe he should be passing off and stuff like that. And Rashford had to learn that in his game as well. But I really believe next season, Anthony's game will evolve even more. I think he's only 22 years old as well. So he's such a young player. I think people have to realise that. He's only 22. So the more he's on the pitch, I think he comes with that price tag as well, so that deserving criticism. But I don't want to hang his hat up too early. I think he's a fantastic player. If we can get him moving on that left-hand side sometimes, like Ryan Giggs used to do, and run at players because he has got that energy and he loves that 1v1 and things like that. And he's an excitement machine. And I've got to admit, though, 1-0, I was a little worried the second half was going to play out like the last few weeks or like the whole season, really. They were going to switch off. But, that I thought the opposition was poor, mate. I thought they were poor last night. I didn't think Wolves had a real good go or anything like that. So,
Wolves are safe, so they didn't. They don't have anything to play for like us. But touching back on Anthony, you know, like you also got to remember he came from the Dutch league as well, and you know we all know playing in the Dutch league week in week out is nothing like the Premier League. So you know, players take a good season or two to get used to, you know, just living in Manchester. You know, let alone playing for the biggest club in the world. It's
and it's funny in the '90s. In the '90s, we used to accept that, didn't we? We used to accept that, and we used to accept the oh yeah, he still only had a season there, and so hopefully he comes on the following season. Whereas nowadays, a lot of fans are want that immediate impact, especially with the price tag they come with and things like that. But
that's the biggest issue, isn't it? The price tag. Like you look at Sancho, the biggest issue, Anthony, like
yeah. And look, the other good thing over the past few weeks, our subs haven't made an impact. Whereas this week, every sub made an impact when they came on, which was good. Your boy Wegs comes on, drops in a little bit deeper. And I know you give me heaps about him, but no, he does. He really tries hard when he comes on, and that's all you want. You know, you had Harry come on for Varane, which always worries everyone, but he was good. And then Fred, the energy he shows when he comes on, he makes some double tackles and single tackles, reads the game well. You know, and look, we all know he can turn the ball over, but last night he was very good. And then Garnacho, he's just another level, isn't he? He's just an excitement machine, that kid.
He is, you know, like, and you know, as I said earlier, like the fans just, even when he was warming up, you could hear him how excited they were to see him back. And you know, he's the future, really. Like he's, as I say, he's signed a long-term deal, and you know, he's got that hair color dyed now, so he stands out even more. So he's got the pressure on him, you know. Like,
mate, he's got, and I've seen it's funny. You watch a lot of the pods, and they all go, "He's got new hair, he's got new teeth, he's got a new baby coming along, he's got a new contract."
Yeah,
it's bloody exciting times for the kid, isn't it? Like, you know me, I really get hung up on youth players, and look, I've been gutted a few times recently with players, and look, I'll probably get criticised if I said, you know, I'd love to see Greenwood and Garnacho play together, but you know, it's something that I really would like to see, regardless.
I think we all would privately. You know what I mean?
I really would, but you know, I really find it hard probably to see him at the club again. I've heard he's training behind closed doors somewhere, which is good. You know, it's really a weird situation, but yeah, it was great to see Garnacho score that goal, especially when you watch that goal a few times. Like I've watched that goal probably 10, 20 times now, where he feints inside and then goes back onto the outside, and then he takes the narrow side of the goal. That's crazy, especially when that keeper, he was having a blinder all game. I do get a bit sick of seeing that, where keepers step up against United.
Yeah, it seems to happen a lot, doesn't it? But yeah, back to Garnacho, showed good composure there. You know, like I think it was when Fred played that ball, I was like, why didn't he play it to Bruno? Then Bruno can play it to Garnacho. But Garnacho just took the ball on and just went for it, you know, and he showed the confidence that he could finish those type of goals. So, you know, as I say, get him a few more games in and, you know, prime for the FA Cup. And it's a one-off game. Who knows what can happen in that game? So hopefully Real Madrid can get up midweek and won't be all on us.
Mate, I've got to look. I know us United fans, we get sucked in by things real easy, and especially me. Like once we get a win under our belt, like over the past couple of weeks, I have been really nervous, and I've been busting for you to get back so we can get good results. And but apart from the game last night, we've really got an important one coming up for our women, which is good. And I know you're a big fan of the women's team, and so am I. I really like following them, and we podcast probably don't talk about them enough. But one thing me and you will do on this pod, and I know it's a big thing for you, is talking about the women's game a little bit. And you know, they're at the top of the league on their side, and they've got an FA Cup game coming up tonight. So it'll be good to see them put one over Chelsea, especially Sam Kerr, put her back in a box.
Yeah, that's it. You know, like I went to a couple of women's matches when I was over there. Saw a 90th minute winner by Millie Turner. You know, it was great fun. You know, like I think it was only about 6,000 people there, but you know, it was a great atmosphere still. And you know, then they played at Lee Sports Centre, and we had a comfortable win there. And it was just, you know, it's different obviously than going to Old Trafford and that, but you know, I think one day that they'll be playing the women's matches before the men. You know, and that's probably not right for a lot of people, but it's just the way it is. And why not? Like, why does it matter if they play before them? You know, they're not going to wreck the pitch. The pitch is, you know, the best in the world. So it's made to last, and I reckon it'll be exciting because you notice at the women's games there's a lot of kids, and you know, at the end of the day, the kids are the future of the club. So a lot of kids and families and stuff like that, and you know, even you know, people that probably never actually got involved with the men's because the tickets are so expensive or too hard to get. The women's games are accessible and, you know, cheap for people. You know, we've got the World Cup coming up soon, and I think it's like $20 to go watch a World Cup match. Like, you try and see that in the men's game, it never happens. So,
well, I mean, you look at
people involved.
You look at United this year. The men's have made the Carabao Cup final. They've won that. They've made the FA Cup final, the men as well. And the women have made the FA Cup final as well. You know, it's a dream. If someone offered you that at the start of the season as a fan, you'd go, "Yeah, I'll take that, no problem at all." The women's game is a sold out game as well, which is fantastic. Yeah. And you know, so it'll be a dream for these girls to go down there and definitely put on a show. And yeah, I know I'm excited about the World Cup coming here also. Like, we're both going to watch England play, and I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Matildas, as a lot of people know. I've been too involved with it. But, yeah, no, good luck to Manchester United women, and, you know, bring that trophy home. Keep that red flag flying.
And if you're in Australia, it's shown on Optus Sport too. So, you know, obviously they haven't been showing the games until now, but, you know, we're lucky enough we can watch it on there. So I think coverage starts about 11:30 or so.
Yeah, I think it's 11:30 kickoff. So make sure you put that on, and Optus has got it on, so which is fantastic. I know I'll definitely be watching it. I might have to go to bed, burn that on. You're not going to fall asleep? But no, I definitely won't. No, I had a massive week throwing up fire-rated sheets this week, 16 mil board, and I'll tell you what, I had the two young blokes were carrying me a lot. I tell you, I was sore, mate. I tell you. So it was. I'd stayed up. I probably watched about 20 or 30 minutes of the game, and then I just went, well, I was supposed to have a couple of boys come over and watch the game, but they never turned up. They probably fell asleep as well. The midnight kickoff is a hard one to stay up for. Sometimes I prefer the 2 o'clock games because that way I can get a sleep in between.
And then you go straight to work. It works out well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then you go straight to work. That's right, yeah. Well, Dean, that wraps up our first pod together. I thought it was really, really good. I got to admit, it was like I was the first pod I've done with EMAD as well, so I was nervous to see how it goes, even though we've done pods together before. But this one's a little bit more on the, I don't want to say professional because I'm hardly professional, that's for sure. Yeah. But no, we've got a long road ahead, so we'll definitely be throwing hopefully one out a week, which is good. And Dino's up in Brisbane, I'm in Sydney, and I'll be getting up to Dean soon, hopefully. And so thank you, Dean. Thank you, everyone. I'll talk to you later. See you later. Check yous.
See ya.